My son-in-law mocked my stroke, saying, "Guess the left side of you finally matches your personality, dead." I sat there, slurring my words, while my own daughter filmed it and sent it to her friends. They laughed. But when I found out he forged my name on a loan and put our house at risk, I called someone who still owed me a favor. What happened next? I haven't spoken much about my health to anyone outside my close circle. Maybe that was the problem. Maybe if I had, someone would have warned me about Ethan. My stroke came on a cold Tuesday in January. I was cooking chili, and the spoon dropped from my left hand. My arm followed. My whole side slumped. I thought maybe I'd stood too fast. Then I tried to say, "I need help," and the words felt like they were trapped in my mouth, melting before they hit the air. Marlo was the one who found me that day. She drove me to the hospital, stayed overnight, and told me she loved me. I believed her. Even when Ethan barely visited, I told myself, he works a lot. But what I didn't know then was that his disinterest wasn't just neglect. It was contempt. After the stroke, everything changed for me. I couldn't write like before. I couldn't walk far. My speech, my favorite thing, turned into a slow, broken thing. I used to teach high school English. I loved words. I lived by them. Now I stuttered, slurred. It humiliated me. Ethan thought it was funny. The Thanksgiving dinner, when he said that line, "Guess the left side of you finally matches your personality, dead," he wasn't trying to be clever. He meant it. He looked right at me, saw me struggle with the mashed potatoes, and smiled like a man who finally got to kick the dog that bit him in a dream. But it wasn't just the words. It was the way my daughter laughed. Quietly, not loudly. Like she didn't want to, but couldn't help herself. Then out came her phone. She filmed me trying to talk, fumbling my fork. Later, I found out she sent it to a group chat. The caption said, "Dinner with a zombie." I know because one of her old friends, Tina Malone, sent me the screenshot. It broke me. I sat alone in my recliner that night, holding that screenshot. My hands shook, not from the stroke, from betrayal. I felt stupid. I raised Marlo alone after her father passed. I gave up on dating, on traveling, just to keep her safe and strong. And now? She laughed at my slurred speech like I was a clown in a costume. Then the letter came. The mortgage company sent it, stamped urgent. I didn't understand at first. I thought it was junk. But something told me to open it. That's when I saw the words, "Balance due, escrow recalculation, owner signature." It was my name, but not my writing. I hadn't signed a thing. I stared at the numbers. A second mortgage. Pulled out against my home. Over $87,000. It felt like a second stroke. But this time it hit my heart. I tried calling Marlo. She didn't pick up. I left a message. I didn't yell. I just asked, "Did you or Ethan sign anything on the house?" No reply. 3 days passed. I called the mortgage company. They said the documents had been verified by a family co-resident. That meant Ethan. He used my address, forged my name, and somehow convinced them I was too old to care. That's when I remembered Slim. Randy, Slim Moran wasn't a friend in the usual sense. We weren't close. But years ago, he'd lost his garage in a fire. No insurance. Everyone walked away from him. Everyone but me. I gave him a $4,000 loan, no interest, no deadline. He cried when I handed it over. Swore I saved his life. So I made the call. His voice picked up on the second ring. Still had that scratchy southern twang. I didn't cry, didn't beg. I just told him the truth. From the stroke, to the video, to the fake loan. He was quiet a long time. Then he said, "I'm coming. Don't talk to them till I do." He pulled up the next morning. Faded green truck. Rust on the bumper. Big man, soft eyes. He hugged me like I was his mother. When Ethan came around the side of the house, Slim didn't wait. "You forged a dying woman's name," he said, holding up a folder. Ethan scoffed, "She ain't dying. She's just slow." Slim stepped forward. Ethan flinched. "I've already pulled the deed copy," Slim said. "Her name's on the loan. Not yours." "That's forgery, and I got friends at the DA's office who hate pretty boys who steal from old women." Ethan's whole body changed. Like he shrunk 2 inches. Marlo came outside next. She looked like she hadn't slept. "What is this?" I finally said it. "You let him film me. You laughed. And now your husband tried to steal my house." She didn't deny it. Just said, it was just a joke. And we needed money. Slim handed her a copy of the loan file. "This is identity theft. She could press charges today." Marlo started crying. But I didn't comfort her. I just said, "I gave you everything. You gave me this." After Slim confronted them, everything got quiet. Ethan stopped trying to argue. Marlo stopped crying. They just stood there, side by side, like 2 teenagers caught smoking in the school parking lot. Except this wasn't school. This was my house, my life. And I wasn't calling a principal, I was calling the law. I wasn't sure how far I'd go. Not yet. But I wanted them to know I could ruin them if I wanted. Slim stayed in my living room while I went through my files. We gathered everything, my old signature samples, my last property tax statement, the blank checks from before the stroke where my signature looked normal. Slim took them all. He told me, "This kind of thing? Banks hate it. Paperwork fraud. They'd rather eat the loss than get caught up in it. But we'll give them a chance to fix it before we go to the police." The next day, we went to the bank. We didn't call ahead. We just showed up. Slim wore a flannel and jeans. I wore the coat I used to wear to parent-teacher nights. We walked in slow. I brought a cane that wasn't for show. We asked for the loan officer who processed the second mortgage. His name was Kyle Berriman, some college-educated pipsqueak who looked like he'd just figured out how to grow a beard. He smiled when he saw us. "Hear about the home equity adjustment?" he said. Slim dropped the folder on his desk. "We're here because you let a man commit felony forgery on a woman with a neurological disability. This is her property. You approved a loan she didn't request. So either you fix it, or we walk this to the DA, then the local news." Kyle paled. "Hold on, let me get my manager." He didn't come back alone. A woman came with him, older, tough. The branch manager. She looked at everything in the folder. Compared the signatures. Said nothing for a long time. Then she looked at me and said, "We're going to escalate this. You will not lose your home. We're flagging the loan, freezing any disbursement, and launching a fraud investigation." I didn't smile. I just nodded. Slim reached over and squeezed my hand. Meanwhile, Ethan was getting nervous. He started texting me. First just, "Hey," then, "We didn't mean to hurt you." Then a longer one, "We were desperate. I lost my job and we thought it wouldn't matter. We thought you wouldn't notice. Please don't press charges. Please." I didn't answer. Marlo called twice. I didn't pick up. Instead, I called Tina Malone, the woman who sent me the screenshot of Marlo's group chat. She picked up fast. "I need a copy of everything they said about me," I told her. Time-stamped. Screenshots. All of it. She said, "I already saved it. I always thought it was sick. I just didn't know what to do." What I did next changed everything. I took the screenshots. The texts. The fake loan paperwork. The bank's written confirmation of fraud under review. I put it all together and mailed one copy, to a lawyer. A man named Travis Hake I'd taught in high school 20 years ago. Now, he runs a small firm in Dayton that specializes in elder abuse cases. He called me the same day the package arrived. Said, "I'll take it pro bono. They'll never see it coming." And they didn't. It all started to unravel fast. Ethan got a letter first. A cease and desist order. Then a notice of pending civil suit. Marlo lost it. She came to my door one night, pounding like a crazy person. I didn't answer. Slim was in the driveway. He stepped out of the truck and said, "Go home, Marlo. Don't make it worse." She screamed, "You're ruining my life." I said through the door, "You ruined mine." She left crying. I didn't. But I wasn't done yet. You see, the thing about betrayal is that it doesn't just break you. It wakes you up. I had spent 2 years being weak. Letting my stroke define what I could do. Now, I wasn't weak. I was angry. And that's different. Anger keeps you upright. I knew they'd forged my name. I knew they'd mocked me while I was sick. But I also found something worse. Ethan had opened credit cards in my name too. He used the approval from the second mortgage to show fake income, and got 2 credit lines totaling over $20,000. And now, he was being investigated by the Bank Fraud Division. The lawyer filed a restraining order. I changed the locks. The house was mine again. After I found out about the credit cards Ethan opened in my name, I started to feel something I hadn't in months: control. Travis, my lawyer, called and said the bank's fraud unit was digging in. "They're seeing inconsistencies across the board," he said. "They might press federal charges if it crosses state lines. That includes the cards." I didn't know how deep Ethan's hole was, but I knew one thing: it wasn't just about him anymore. Marlo knew. Maybe not at first, but by the time she saw that money hit her account, she knew. She spent it. And she never said a word. Then she came back. It was a Wednesday. I was making tea, hands still shaking a bit, but stronger than they used to be. I heard the knock and looked out. There she was, Marlo. Alone this time. I didn't want to open the door. But I did. She stood there holding a grocery bag. "I brought you soup. Your favorite." I didn't say thank you. She stepped in without being asked. The moment she passed the threshold, she said, "I didn't know about the cards." I looked her in the eye. "But you knew about the video." She didn't answer. She sat down and tried to cry again, said things like, "We were drowning in debt." I didn't know what to do. "He promised he'd pay it back before you noticed." "We love you, Mom." That last part? That one hurt the most. Because it felt rehearsed. The same way a liar preps their lines in the mirror. I asked her, "When you filmed me slurring, what was funny about that?" She got quiet. "I was scared," she said. "No," I told her. "You were entertained." "That's worse." She dropped the act. Her voice changed. "You're trying to ruin my family. You know Ethan could go to prison. You're seriously going to put him in jail? Your grandson's father?" That's when I knew. This wasn't about regret. This was a threat. I told her to leave. "I'll call you," I said, "when I'm ready. Don't come back before then." She walked out without another word. No apology. No tears this time. Just rage in her shoulders. I locked the door. 2 hours later, Slim showed up. He looked at the back door and then back at me. Why was the lock tampered with? She tried to come back and the back screen was off. The deadbolt had scratches. Marlo had a spare key, but I'd changed the locks. She must have brought her old one, tried to break in, realized it didn't work. Slim helped me install a new security system the next morning. He called it insurance. The final piece dropped. The bank notified me Ethan's loan had been reversed. All disbursements were frozen. The mortgage was restored under my name only. They were closing his credit cards. But it didn't stop there. The state's attorney general's office contacted Travis. Ethan and Marlo were under review for felony identity theft, wire fraud, and elder abuse. They weren't just losing money. They might lose their freedom. A week after the attorney general opened the case, I got a call from a local reporter. Her name was Josie Keller, from the Dayton Daily News. She'd heard about a potential elder fraud investigation involving a forged mortgage and identity theft. At first, I didn't want to talk. I was still shaken. But Josie wasn't pushy. She just said, "Your story could help someone else. A lot of people are too scared to come forward." So I said yes. We met at a diner off Route 4. I brought Slim with me. Josie recorded everything. I told her about the stroke, the forged loan, the mocking, the video. She listened like no one had in years. When the story came out, the headline read, "Dayton woman battles daughter and son-in-law after they stole her identity, mocked her stroke." It ran on the front page of the Sunday paper. My face wasn't shown, but the words were enough. Everyone knew it was me. That's when the threat started. Marlo texted me first. Then Ethan. Angry, wild messages. "You're ruining your family. You'll regret this. Take it down." I didn't answer. Instead, I posted a statement on my church bulletin board, telling people the story in my own words. I said if anyone else had gone through something similar, I'd help them find a lawyer too. Within 2 days, 2 other women, one from my neighborhood, one from my old school, reached out. Both had adult children who'd taken financial advantage of them. One had lost her house. The other was too scared to report her own son. Then the civil suit moved forward. Travis filed for full restitution and damages. Not just for the forged loan, but the credit cards, emotional distress, and legal fees. Over $150,000 in total. Ethan tried to countersue, claiming I'd consented to the money because I trusted him with the house. It was nonsense. Travis submitted the video Marlo took at Thanksgiving. The one where I was slurring my words and Ethan made the dead joke. You could hear Marlo giggling behind the camera. The judge's face didn't move. But his words did. These recordings don't show consent. They show cruelty. Then it hit them where it hurt most. Ethan lost his job. His company didn't want to be connected to financial fraud. Marlo got dropped from her PR contract with a local real estate firm. They both became unemployable overnight. They sold their car. Then their furniture. Then moved into a 1-bedroom rental in Kettering. Ethan started a GoFundMe. Title, "Help Us Rebuild After Family Betrayal." It raised $72 in 2 weeks. Most of the comments said, "Maybe you shouldn't have robbed your own mother." But I still wasn't finished because Slim found something else. While helping me sort my mail, he found a letter from a debt collector. It wasn't addressed to me. It was to Ethan. Somehow, his medical bills were being rerouted through my address, using my name as a co-signer. He was still trying to sink me, even as I pulled free. So I called Travis. He said, "Let me handle this last piece. It'll be the nail in their coffin." Travis dug into the new debt collection notice. It was worse than we thought. Not only had Ethan listed me as a co-signer for his hospital bill, $12,400 from a sports injury that happened 2 years ago, but he'd done it right after my stroke, while I was still in inpatient rehab. He'd gone into my files, found my social security number, and used my full legal name and birth date to sign up as a responsible party on his ER bill. All without asking. All while pretending to be a concerned son-in-law. That was fraud. Plain and ugly. Travis called in a criminal investigator. The guy's name was Detective Leroyce, from Montgomery County's Financial Crimes Unit. Big guy. Straight talker. He met with me at my kitchen table, listened to everything I told him, looked over the documents, and said, "This isn't just civil anymore. This is theft, identity fraud, elder abuse, and forgery. We can move forward with criminal charges." Then he asked me one question: "Do you want us to arrest your daughter too?" I didn't answer right away. I just stared at the wall for a minute. Because the truth is, I still loved her. Somewhere under all that mess, she was still the girl I raised. But the woman she became? That woman let her husband bleed me dry, humiliate me, and then beg me to stay quiet. So I asked him back, "Will she learn anything if we don't?" He nodded once. "We'll go forward." Then I did something I never thought I'd do. I called Tina Malone again. I said, "Do you still have that video?" She said yes. I said, "Can you send it to the local news outlet?" And she did. Within 2 days, it aired on WHO TV. A segment called, "When Family Turns Against You." It showed the clip of Ethan mocking me, Marlo giggling. It showed my court documents, my statement, and even Slim, who sat on the porch and said, "You don't mess with people like her. She gave more than she ever got back." But now? Now she's taking it all back. Then the arrests happened. It was a Thursday. Cloudy. I got the call at 2:17 p.m. "Ma'am, we've taken Ethan and Marlo Cole into custody." The charges? For counts of felony identity theft, 2 counts of forgery, elder exploitation, fraudulent co-signing of medical debt, and obstruction. Marlo cried when they cuffed her, according to the officer. Ethan? He asked if he could just pay it back. The answer was no. They both posted bond. But they knew what was coming. A trial. I got my house back. My name cleared. But the pain stuck around. It's strange, the way betrayal lingers. Some nights I'd still wake up hearing my daughter's laugh from that video. The way she filmed me, not because she was scared, but because she thought it was funny. I don't know who taught her to think like that. Maybe it was me. Maybe I forgave her too much growing up. Maybe I gave her too much without showing her what it cost me. Either way, she learned that love was something she could cash in. Not anymore. But I still had one more thing to do. Ethan's GoFundMe was still up. So I made a donation. Exactly $1. And in the comments, I wrote, "This is all you're worth now." The trial came 6 months after the arrests. It was held at the Montgomery County Courthouse in downtown Dayton. Every day, I showed up in my best clothes. My cane in one hand. My dignity in the other. Ethan and Marlo came in looking like 2 people who'd aged 10 years in half a season. He'd lost weight. She wore flat shoes and no makeup. They tried to look humble. It didn't work. The prosecution brought the full weight of the charges. They played the video from Thanksgiving. You could hear my slurred words. You could hear Ethan's voice, sharp and cruel. "Guess the left side of you finally matches your personality, dead." The jury flinched. You could see it. Then they played Marlo's giggle. Her sending it out to friends. The screenshots. The group chat laughing at me like I was a sideshow freak. One juror shook her head and looked down. Then came the evidence of fraud: the forged mortgage papers, the credit card applications, the co-signed medical bill, the debt notices sent to my address. They showed a timeline. Ethan started applying for money in my name while I was still in the hospital. He used my social security number from my tax forms. He'd even forged my signature on a durable power of attorney document, something I never signed, never saw. Marlo didn't fill anything out herself, but she used the money. She knew. The DA made that clear. This wasn't just a theft. It was an ambush on a vulnerable woman by the people she trusted most. Then I took the stand. I wasn't sure if I could speak clearly. But I did. I looked the jury in the eye and said, "I taught my daughter to read. I held her through every fever, every heartbreak. I gave her everything I had. And when I couldn't speak for myself, when I was broken, she laughed. Her husband stole from me. But she sold me out. That's worse. My voice cracked. But I didn't cry. The verdict took 1 day guilty. All charges. Both of them. Ethan got 7 years in prison. No parole for at least 4. Marlo got 3 years probation, 1 year house arrest, and a full restitution order. She had to pay me back every penny, and was barred from contacting me ever again. Her face crumpled when the judge read the terms. No more playing the victim. No more manipulating the story. The world saw her for what she was. The karma wasn't just legal, it was personal. The story ran across state media. Ethan lost any hope of professional work again. Marlo's name was blacklisted in every real estate firm in Ohio. Their friends dropped them. Their neighbors avoided them. Their son, my grandson, was placed with Ethan's sister. She reached out to me. Said, he wants to see you. I said, when he's older and he asks me what happened, I'll tell him the truth. I won't lie to protect his parents' shame. And me? I got my life back. The house is mine again. The debts are wiped. My credit score is higher than it's ever been. Travis won me a settlement on top of restitution, enough to finish my physical therapy, pay off my car, and install a new deck out back. Slim still visits every weekend. We play cards and drink iced tea. He jokes that if I ever want revenge on the local HOA, he's got tools. We laugh. But it's real laughter. The kind I thought I'd lost after that Thanksgiving. Here's what I know now: revenge isn't always loud. Sometimes, it's quiet. Legal. Precise. But it has to be earned. You don't destroy someone for hurting your feelings. You destroy them when they look at your suffering, your slurred words, your limp arm, and decide to make a joke out of it. Ethan thought he was clever. Marlo thought she was safe. Now they know better. And me? I'm still standing. A little slower, maybe. But stronger than they ever expected. And that's the kind of ending they never saw coming.